Authorities confirm helicopter crash in Port Harcourt. Several lives lost and recovery efforts continue.
We are going to give it all it needs to bring value to our country.
President Tinubu promises new era of productivity and prosperity for Nigeria's livestock sector.
While I hope that this request will receive the usual expeditious consideration.
Also tonight, Senate takes receipt of list of 7 new ministerial nominees from President Tinubu. Hello and a warm welcome for joining us on NTA Network News tonight. I am Juma Yusuf. Benny Adams is here with business news, and Bade Adele will be bringing us tidbits in the world of sports. Remember, you can follow this news broadcast live on all our social media platforms. We begin with the Federal Ministry of Aviation confirmation of the distressing report of a helicopter accident that occurred at about 11:22 a.m. along the waterways in Port Harcourt. A statement by the head press and public relations of the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Odutayo Olusheye, says the helicopter Sky SK-76 with registration FNBQG operated by East Wind Aviation was en route to the Numaten oil rig from Port Harcourt military base. The aircraft had 8 persons aboard, was said to have crashed into the waters near Boni Finama in the Atlantic Ocean. Meanwhile, search and rescue operations are ongoing with the support of the Nigerian Search and Rescue Unit, the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, the National Safety Investigation Bureau, and other relevant agencies. The military and low-flying aircrafts have also been deployed to assist in locating and rescuing survivors. So far, 3 bodies have been recovered. The minister is working with all relevant agencies to ensure a coordinated response and to minimize casualties from this unfortunate incident. Moving on, President Bola Tinubu has restricted ministers of state and heads of agencies of the federal government to a maximum of 3 vehicles in their official convoys. A statement by the Presidential Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onaniga, indicates that with this new directive, no additional vehicles will be assigned to those affected for movement. The Special Advisor recalls that in January this year, President Tinubu took significant steps to reduce government expenditure by reducing his entourage on foreign trips from 50 to 20 officials. For local trips, the president reduced the number to 25 officials. The president had similarly reduced the vice president's entourage to 5 officials on foreign trips and 15 for local trips. In the directive issued today, President Tinubu also ordered all ministers of state and heads of agencies to have at most 5 security personnel attached to them. The security team will comprise 4 police officers and 1 Department of State Services, DSS officer. He also instructed the National Security Advisor to engage with the military, paramilitary, and security agencies to determine a suitable reduction in their vehicle and security personnel deployment. All affected officials are expected to comply with these new measures immediately, underscoring the urgency and seriousness of these cost-saving measures. Nigeria is now believed in the process of transiting from reform to realization of its full potential in the livestock sector, with President Bola Tinubu saying he is fully committed to the cause of economic growth. He was speaking at the Stakeholders Consultative Workshop on Livestock Reforms in Nigeria at the State House Conference Center. State House correspondent Musbao Wahab will tell us more.
The man with the idea is here, and the idea to convert the challenges in the livestock sector to flourishing opportunities has continued to gain traction in the sequential processes of reforms. From presidential idea to reform and then implementation, the Presidential Committee is now set to get much broader perspectives with more than 300 participants from across the country.
Significantly, reforming and repositioning the livestock sector would also help us to mitigate the perennial conflicts between farmers and herders, which have bedeviled the sector with negative consequences to peaceful coexistence, community relations, and beneficial productive activities.
Beyond the primary aim, the Renewed Hope Livestock Reforms Committee is hoping to unlock the opportunities yet untapped in the sector. The Federal Ministry of Livestock Development, a recommendation of the committee with the immediate approval of the President, is becoming a reality. And with the vast economic potentials to boost the nation's GDP, President Bola Tinubu believes Nigeria has looked away from these prospects for too long.
The long neglect has well on our country's import bill between 1.2 to 1.5 billion. It's been spent to import dairy food and all of that. Then what are we doing with the size of land? We didn't see the investment opportunity. We didn't see the economy. We didn't see the cold room investment. We didn't see that opportunity before now, but it's coming.
And now, with a demonstration of commitment by the administration, as it appears right now, only time stands between Nigeria and realization of the full potential of this sector.
It's about time that we do it right. A country of over 200 million people, I cannot serve our children 1 pint of milk in the classroom per day. We are going to give it all it needs to bring value to our country.
What we're doing here today is laying the foundation of a better future. For us in the states and the local governments, that's where the land is. We have to make efforts to make land available, to make the federal government's policy a success.
We shall also mobilize our people to take active part in the livestock sector development initiatives for the overall interest of our great country, Nigeria.
The diverse experiences and perspectives of stakeholders will enrich the ongoing transformation of the sector and help shape policies that will create Nigeria's sustainable livestock economy that is globally competitive.
So it makes sense that we are solving a security problem by supporting a sector that in some countries is a major contributor to gross domestic product.
Participants here have 2 days to come up with recommendations which will, among others, facilitate the smooth takeoff of the newly established Ministry of Livestock Development. From the State House, Musbah Wahab, NTA News.
Talking legislative matters now, the 7 ministerial nominees appointed by President Tinubu on Wednesday will, in the shortest possible time, be screened by the Senate for confirmation, as the list has already been referred to the Committee of the Whole. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that the President of the Senate, Godfrey Akpabio, said this while reading the communication of the President requesting Senate's confirmation.
While I hope that this request will receive the usual expeditious consideration of
the
the
list
Senate.
of 7 ministerial nominees transmitted by President Bola Tinubu was read at the commencement of plenary. The screening and confirmation is in line with provisions of Section 147, subsection 2 of the Constitution. Senate has passed the bill to establish the South-South Development Commission and amended the Act establishing Development Commission in 5 other regions following the consideration of the report of the Senate Committee on Special Duties.
Yesterday, we saw the creation of a new ministry known as the Ministry of Regional Development. The bill are well structured and strategically streamlined for the socio-economic development of the South-South geopolitical zone, as well as meet the yearning and aspirations of the people.
In tandem with the renewed hope mantra of this government that seeks to bring development down to the doorsteps of the people,
there shall be paid from the federal government the equivalent of 15% of the total monthly statutory allocations due to member states of the Commission from the Federation account.
I pray that these commissions, now under the Ministry of Regional Development, will augur well and bring development closer to the grassroots of this country.
Plenary featured the adoption of a mission urging assistance to victims of flood in Delta State.
Everybody is affected. An injury to one is an injury to everybody.
Expedite the establishment of fully equipped IDP camps in the flood-hit areas.
We should also encourage cleaning of canals, which are the possible or cause of this problem we have.
Senate urged the Ministry of Works to dredge and channel rivers Benue and Niger, as well as build more dams to prevent recurring flood. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives is to investigate allegations of lopsided employments and extra budgetary expenditures in some government agencies. The House at plenary today resolved to constitute an ad hoc committee to carry out the probe. National Assembly correspondent Mitere Ikpen reports.
The resolution was sequel to a motion from Minority Whip Ali Issa, in which he listed Federal Inland Revenue Service, Corporate Affairs Commission, and Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation among agencies allegedly involved in the infraction.
Funds meant for statutory operations being used for non-statutory in gross violations of the Fiscal Responsibility Act. If this allegation of lopsided employment and extra budgetary expenditure are true, the principles of fairness, equity, and transparency are violated.
A bill to amend the TED Fund Act to provide strict conditions for tertiary institutions seeking to access the fund scaled second reading. Also adopted was a motion to remove tertiary institutions from Band A category in electricity consumption.
Call on Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission to place public tertiary institutions on the service-based tariffs of Band C, or if there is any band that is lower than Band C.
They're just saying that the universities who have shown capacity, who have shown resilience, who have shown steadfastness, can use their track record to have a better chance.
As long as the fund will not discriminate against new upcoming universities, where the older universities that have shown capacity will drive larger percentage of the fund.
Most institutions have not even met up with some of the stringent conditions, one of which is that until you exhaust the allocations for the current year, you are not entitled to take that of the previous year.
The House passed a resolution seeking rehabilitation of the Zaria Funtua, Uso, and Karan Namuda railway line.
Make adequate budgetary provisions for the rehabilitation of Zaria, Funtua, Gusau, Karan Namuda rail lines in the 2025 budgetary estimate.
Lawmakers, however, voted against second reading of a bill to alter the 1999 Constitution to review the description of Islamic law, with advocacy for further consultations on the bill. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Now, we're getting major feelers from the ongoing World Bank IMF annual meeting in Washington, D.C., where Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, is advocating increased investment in women's development by a majority of the countries around the world. He emphasized, along with other ministers of finance, that empowering women through targeted investments contributes to economic growth, reduces poverty, and fosters social stability. Muplang Dakot reports.
The ministers of finance here emphasize that empowering women is crucial to ending world poverty.
In Nigeria, 49% of the population are women. And so we have a national action plan for the empowerment, the economic empowerment of women. What it points to is that it is a deliberate commitment, and it comes from the very top politically. If we empower our female population and give them the same access that we have given our men, the whole society will be better off for it.
If you enable a lady of the house with social and economic independence, she transforms her family forever. So the multiplier effect of her ability to not only transform her life, but that of those around her is why I believe that unlocking the potential of this dormant opportunity is enormous for our future.
We really need to make sure that emerging areas of employment like green growth, but also construction, other areas of our economies and care, that they are including women.
Women remain the way that we can easily achieve our social and economic development.
Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, stressed that now is the time to end all political, moral, or religious argument on women's participation in leadership. From Washington, D.C., Muplang Dakot, NTA.
We'll take a break now. When we return, there's more coming your way. Don't go away. You're welcome back. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, led other prominent members of the House to commiserate with the Jigawa State government over the recent devastating petrol fire incident in Jigawa State. While at the presidential wing of the government house in Dutse, the Speaker announced the donation of 100 million naira on behalf of the members of the House of Representatives. Mohammed Musa Askira reports.
The Speaker, House of Representatives, accompanied by 8 prominent members of the House, while commiserating with the victims, the government and the entire people of Jigawa State, says, as Muslims, the unfortunate incidents must be taken as a test from God, while praying for the repose of the deceased and quick recovery of the survivors laying down at hospitals in Jigawa State and neighboring states. The Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, commends Governor Umar Namadi for his response in handling the situation. Governor Umar Namadi appreciates the visits of the House of Representatives delegation and the 100 million naira donation, assuring them that the money will reach the victims as intended.
The House is with you in looking for ways and means of preventing future occurrence in Jigawa State and in Nigeria as a whole.
This is more than the call of duty. We thank you very much for this generosity. We thank you very much for this show of brotherhood.
The Jigawa State government has so far acknowledged the pledge of about 1.5 billion naira from governments, organizations and concerned individuals across the country for the victims of the petrol fire incidents. From Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
In a similar move, Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has donated the sum of 40 million naira along with food items to victims of the tanker explosion in Majia village of Jigawa State. The donation was presented on her behalf by a delegation led by the wife of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Hajia Fatima Tajuddin Abbas, at the Government House, Dutse. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo reports.
For more than a week now, Jigawa State, and indeed the nation, was thrown into mourning following a fuel tanker explosion in Majia, a village in the northwestern state, which killed about 180 residents, many of them women and children. This delegation, led by wife of the Speaker, House of Representatives, Fatima Tajuddin Abbas, is in the state on behalf of Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, to convey our sympathy to the government and people of the state, along with relief materials. The first port of call for the delegation was the Rashid Shekoni Federal University Teaching Hospital, Dutse, where some of the victims are currently receiving medical attention. Sharing words of comfort and hope with them, Hajia Fatima Tajuddin Abbas assured them of the First Lady's concern and support for them at this painful time.
It is very pathetic. It is very sad. I can't even express what I'm feeling actually now. May God forgive the deceased. May God heal the sick.
Receiving the commiseration and donations from the First Lady with thanks, Governor of Jigawa State, Malam Umar Namadi, assured the delegation that the donation will be judiciously deployed to cater for the victims.
These victims are doing well. Most of them are responding to treatment. I myself and His Excellency the Deputy Governor, we went around all the hospitals, 8 hospitals, and we saw the victims. We saw some of them are doing well, and they will continue to pray for their quick recovery.
A check bearing a personal donation of 40 million naira and food items from the First Lady was later presented to the wife of the state governor, Hadiza Umar Namadi, for onward distribution to those affected by the disaster.
Our hearts go out to the families, to their loved ones, and to the entire Jigawa State and to Nigeria. Your presence here is a symbol of solidarity, compassion, and support that give us strength in this time of grief.
Exactly a week ago, the First Lady was personally in Maiduguri on a similar visit to provide support to victims of flooding in Borno State. From Dutse in Jigawa State, Adeni Itaiwo, NTA News.
Let's shift our attention to electoral matters and to ensure a hitch-free governorship election in Ondo State. INEC has fixed Wednesday, 6 November 2024 to conduct mock accreditation of voters in 12 polling units across the 3 senatorial districts in the state. The mock exercise will start from 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. A statement by INEC National Commissioner for Information, Sam Olumekun, appeals to registered voters to come out with their PVCs for the exercise. And with less than 4 weeks to the November 16 governorship election in Ondo State, major political parties and their candidates are intensifying efforts to educate the electorate on the importance of voting. Abdul Karim Ahmed reports on some of the latest political activities in the state.
The governorship campaign team of the All Progressives Congress was at Ifedore, local government area of Ondo State, engaging traditional rulers in Ijare, Ilaramoki and Igbaroki community. The candidates of the party and incumbent governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, reassures the monarchs and the people of his commitment to continuing his people-centered development plans if voted for come November 16.
The institution is very key because they reside with the people, they have them as their subjects, and they can easily communicate with them.
Meanwhile, the campaign team of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, led by Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde, and the party's governorship candidate Agbola Ajayi were at the palaces of traditional rulers in Akoko Northeast and Akoko Northwest local government areas to intimate the royal fathers about the party's 7-point agenda. Governor Seyi Makinde analyzed the significance of the election to the political history of Nigeria and that of the state.
Come November 16, write it down. PDP will prevail and Agbola Ajayi will be declared as the governor-elect. Not based on anything but the people of the state.
The political parties are expected to continue their engagements with the electorate as they visit other local government areas in the state ahead of the polls. In Akure, Abdul Karim Ahmed, NTA News.
Now to health matters. The federal government says it is on course in the task of ending the circulating variant of poliovirus type 2 as children's health care remains a national priority. Executive Director, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Mui Aina, made this known at a media briefing to commemorate the 2024 World Polio Day in Nigeria. Olushe Akdebo reports that this year's World Polio Day is themed a chance for reflection and a reminder to reach every child.
The circulating variant of poliovirus type 2, CVPV2, is another form of the virus that mutates. Nigeria, though successfully eradicate the white poliovirus, WPV, and was declared WPV-free in 2020. A year later, the country in 2021 started reporting the CVPV2 and has since then been contending with it. In 2024, the nation has recorded 83 cases as of October 18.
Across 14 states in the country. The bulk of these cases, 64 out of 83, are what is called acute flaccid paralysis.
Actors driving national program on immunization say some progress has been made, with statistics revealing over 38% decrease in cases between 2023 and 2024.
The theme for this year's World Polio Day is a chance for reflection and a reminder to reach every child.
That is why this year's World Polio Day is perhaps an opportunity, not just to celebrate progress, but indeed to garner support and commitment at all levels to finish the job once and for all.
Every child must receive a polio vaccine along with all necessary routine immunization.
Development partners acknowledged the efforts of the Nigerian government to interrupt CVPV2 outbreak and asked for continued commitments. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
We'll take a pause here as we join Michael in Lagos for more on NTA Network News. Hello, Michael.
Jumai, and thanks for joining us in Lagos. As part of its trade modernization solutions, the Nigeria Customs Service has developed a system that will streamline business processes while facilitating ease of transaction. The homegrown solution known as Bodogu, the Controller General Adewale Adeniyi says, will eventually replace the Nigeria Integrated Customs Information System as the legacy platform of the service. Hinginojan Adams reports that the service has adopted Port and Terminal Multi-Service Limited (PTML) in Lagos to test run the pilot phase of the automation.
Another big step into the future of finding innovative solutions to facilitating trade. And the coming on board of Bodogu, the Controller General said, embodies the customs vision for paperless transactions while maintaining robust security. He said the challenges of previous platforms have been effectively put into consideration in designing the system, leveraging technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning.
The system has been developed with foresight, acknowledging that the national single window will be coming on board soon, and Bodogu will be integrated with it when implemented by the federal government of Nigeria.
The choice of PTML as the pilot center, the Controller General explained, is based on the availability of infrastructure, substantial volume of trade, and track record as a model port.
This terminal has received upgraded network infrastructure to meet modern demands. I can confidently say that the era of network downtime would be behind us.
While the service will also be inaugurating a verification platform which automates agents' registration for licenses and permits, it is particularly elated that Bodogu showcases its capability to develop homegrown solutions that meet international standards. In Lagos, Hinginu, John Adams, NTA News.
Nigeria's energy transition plan presently revolves around building access expansion, especially in the underserved and the unserved communities. In order for the country to totally gravitate towards cleaner and renewable solutions across all spheres, experts are recommending strategic partnership and innovation financing. Correspondent reports that while solar energy offers greater prospects in a country like Nigeria, Stakeholders say green bond and blended finance will solve the challenges of accessing funds.
Nigeria is presently generating 5,000 megawatts of electricity with a peak of 5,527 using various gas-powered companies and hydroelectric plants. The projection before the end of the year is to attain 6,000 megawatts, and the worries for stakeholders is that this does not just create huge energy gap, but shows limited capacity to go green. Stakeholders believe the time to transit is now by creating sustainable paths for utilizing the nation's huge reserves in gas.
Gas in our energy ecosystem is going to be very important. Energy is a key component of development. So if we don't get our energy right, we won't get our overall development right. There's lots of estimates, but almost everybody agree that more than 50% of our people don't have full access to energy.
Beyond gas are more alternatives like solar, which offers prospects in a country like Nigeria. Experts say harnessing on a large scale depends on collaboration and creating financing solutions, because decarbonizing the power sector alone will require $135 billion by 2060.
The green bond space globally next year, as I found out, is going to hit somewhere around the size of issuance that is expected, somewhere around $5 trillion. This market is definitely an attractive, is looking for channels for where this could be deployed.
Since Nigeria was the first African country to issue green bond, experts believe this allows the country's potential to leverage innovation.
That is it from here, and when we return, business news is next with Benny Adams in Abuja. Please stay.
Good to know you're still here, and it's that time we talk business. I'll start by telling you that the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, says it is not producing data to favor government, but to serve as a tool for planning and implementation of programs that will drive economic growth and development of the country. This was the position of the Statistician General of the Federation, Adeyemi Adeniran, at the sensitization of media editors on the Nigerian Living Standards Survey 2023 and 2024, as well as rebasing of gross domestic product and consumer price index in Abuja. The forum focuses on building awareness around gross domestic products.
It's very important for us not to be emotional.
Apologize for that mix-up, that technical sound. Now, moving on, the federal government says it is collaborating with the subnationals to attain 95% digital literacy. This is aimed at developing digital skills that will help small businesses navigate the digital world to locate markets for their goods and services. This is as stakeholders in the MSME space collaborate for improved impact.
If our SMEs are empowered with digital skills, they can do more in terms of expanding their market.
Without skill, MSME cannot survive.
A typical SME experienced 32.8 outages in a month.
We hope to create synergies that would work and drive economic prosperity and inclusive growth.
We are ready to help. We opened several financing windows with commercial banks in Nigeria now, which will actually focus on renewable energies, which will focus on small and medium enterprise development, especially focused on women.
And let us now see how, through collaboration, through support, this can even be made better.
Cherry news for Nigerian MSMEs. Now back to the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Investors gained 148.78 billion naira as the market maintained bullish trend, registering its fourth consecutive session of gains on sustained positive sentiments in bank shares, and the all-share index is up 25 basis points. As we can see, the all-share index also has jumped from the 98 stand to 99,189.95 basis point. Looking at the equity capitalization is also 60.1 trillion naira as against 59.85 trillion naira as of yesterday. We're looking at the volume of shares. We have 400.9 million, which is quite an appreciation, and the value is 15.7 billion. Looking at the deals, we have 9,211 deals. And looking at the volume of shares traded, custodian is sitting on the third spot with 33.7 million, followed by Jopo Gold, 35.1 million, and the UBA is on the first spot with 58.4 million. That means the market breadth also remained positive with 28 gainers against 19 losers, while 75 equities actually remained unchanged at the end of trading. That is it on business. Jumai, you can take it from here.
Thank you, Benny, there for giving us tidbits on the world, from the world of business. Now, there's a growing acknowledgement of the role of social media in modern society, with some analysis indicating that social media now constitutes almost 74% of primary source of how society receive and disseminate information. Head of Mass Communication Department, Nile University, Dr. Jacob Swemo, disclosed this at a workshop to commemorate the annual Global Media and Information Literacy Week. The event, organized by the International Media and Information Literacy Institute, is in collaboration with the Ministry of Information and National Orientation and the National Open University. The University Don, who spoke on new digital frontiers of information media and information literacy for public interest, believes that the social media goes beyond boundaries, sometimes disseminating misinformation.
We look at current trends in the utilization of social media platforms and the impact of the unscrupulous activities of some of those social media stars, then you will accept that there is need for us to put a legislation that impresses on us the call for a responsible utilization of these platforms.
We need to be careful how we disseminate information, what we disseminate, and the impact of what we have disseminated.
The society is therefore encouraged to be wary of information received from the social media due to its tendency for misinformation. The Oni of Ife, Oba Ogunwusi, has advocated birth control as a panacea to curb the persistent out-of-school children in the country. Oba Ogunwusi made the appeal while hosting members of the National Commission for Almajiri and Out-of-School Children's Education in his palace. Rotimi Akamo has details of the meeting.
3 members of the National Commission for Almajiri and Out-of-School Children's Education to his palace, the Oni of Ife, Obade Ogunwusi, who reiterated his commitment to support the commission, decried the way and manner some parents were giving birth to children they could not cater for.
Absolutely, that's the problem. That's the one major route. So the birth control can be more of sensitization.
Here at the instance of Mr. President, who is of the opinion that Almajiri issue and that of out-of-school children cannot be squarely addressed without the contribution and the fatherly guidance of their Royal Highnesses.
The visit to the Palace of Oni of Ife is part of the advocacy visit of the Commission to the Southwest. From the Palace of the Oni of Ife, Rotimi Akamo, NTA News.
And in shaping Nigeria's renewed frontier narrative, members of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations met in Abuja, focusing on strategic communication, transparency, and national development. Correspondent Ibrahim Hamidu tells us more.
The Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, NIPR, recently held its general meeting in Abuja, focusing on proactive public relations communication and strategies. The Institute emphasized the critical role of public relations in promoting transparency and accountability.
The time is very near when the federal government will call on NIPR to produce members of the Institute.
Stakeholders and industry practitioners shared valuable insights on effective communication, crisis management, and reputation building. During the question and answer session, some members and practitioners challenged the status quo, asking what news should really be in Nigeria.
You want to succeed, core content, but about being proactive and then how you manage the crisis at hand.
The NIPR's efforts to promote excellence in public relations are more crucial than ever. By fostering a culture of transparency, accountability, and effective communication, Nigerians can build a stronger, more resilient nation. In Abuja, I am Ibrahim Dan Hamidu, NTA News.
The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has engaged industry players in the power sector to find solutions to the recurring incidents of grid disturbances. Joshua Ojuto reports that far-reaching recommendations were proffered on how to ensure a reliable and stable grid.
The power sector is at a critical stage, and the regulator, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, industry players across generation, transmission and distribution, as well as civil society groups, converge to find solutions to the challenge. With 6 cases of grid disturbances recorded so far this year, industry players say attitudinal alignment among industry players, investment on aging infrastructure, and the need for the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, to prioritize its projects are some of the immediate solutions to end system disturbance in the country.
Availability of gas, very important. Enhance security measures to combat transmission pipeline vandalism.
I believe that putting spinning reserve and the free governor mode side by side can cure the volatility on the grid.
We continue to implore the entire sector. We continue to implore the regulators to please look to see how we can have a holistic solution to these problems.
There have been recommendations about going back to engineering. Yes. Obviously, detailed engineering studies need to be done to evaluate the integrity of the grid today and what is to be done to make sure that we have something not only comparable to our West African neighbors, but something that we can call world-class.
Recommendations at the public hearing are expected to be harmonized for implementation. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
The news will continue in a moment. Do stay. Welcome back. And on Global Update, the Democratic Republic of Congo's mineral-rich South Kivu province has suspended gold mining operations to curb hundreds of foreign companies from illegal extraction of the valuable metal without permits and without declaring their profits. Comfort Fashion has more on these and other stories on Global Update.
The DRC authorities said hundreds of foreign companies, most of them Chinese-owned, mine gold in the mineral-rich province, often without permits and without declaring profits. These companies mine at least 100 kilos of gold per month. The governor of the province, Jean-Jacques Perussi, has stopped the operations until companies can comply with Congolese mining laws. And under the legislation, companies will have to renew their mining permits, some of which have expired for decades. And leaders of Commonwealth grouping of nations met on Thursday ahead of a summit in the South Pacific nation of Samoa. The summit will feature talks on climate change and the question of reparations for Britain's role in transatlantic slavery. And from Asia comes a report that new Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba and main opposition leader Yoshihiko Noda has campaigned ahead of a snap election that will take place on Sunday. And polls suggest the ruling Liberal Democratic Party, LDP, could fall short of the 233 lower house seats needed for a majority for the first time since 2009. Comfort, Fashion, NTA News.
Let's now join Badi Adele for tidbits from the world of sports.